And then like my career started to like explode. Like I toured India, became the youngest guy to do it, and she was like, okay, this is okay, fine, you can do it. But until you get famous, be a doctor. And when you get famous, don't forget about me. I want a date with Harrison Ford. Man, can I something happened yesterday. Can I just like say like what? So when I was 16 years old, I went to boarding school in Oregon for high school, and there were only 2 Indian kids over there. It was me and this other guy named Pranav, and we hated each other. We fucking hated. We fought all the time. But the only time we never fought was when we watched Russell Peters on YouTube. Do you guys know who Russell Peters is? He's one of the most famous comedians out there, like internationally. He sells out stadiums all over the globe. And he's the reason why I started doing stand-up, because like at 16, we had to have our high school like was very career-oriented, so we had to do our career projects at that time. And I just didn't know what I wanted to do, and I started watching him again. And I was like, fuck, I've been doing similar jokes like these my whole life. I could be a stand-up too. And he really got me to do stand-up. And last night, I met him. Woo! I met him. I couldn't stop crying. Literally, I could not, no, this is real. I could not stop crying. I had to like wipe the tears out of my eyes when I was talking to him. And he was just making fun of me. I was like, he's making fun of me. That's amazing, dude. It was awesome. And then he was like, hey kid, you're doing 5 minutes. I'm like, what? I'm opening for you. He was like, yeah, you're gonna do fine. Don't fuck up. And I was like, I will not fuck up, dude. And I go up there, 500 people in the crowd. And I was like, this is gonna be so fucking awesome. I couldn't stop smiling, man. Because like, there's Indian people doing stand-up and acting now, but like I'm gonna be honest, if it was back in the 90s and the 80s, it wouldn't have survived, Russell Peters, he survived the 80s and the 90s as an Indian guy. He's done JFL, he sells out stadiums, and he's the reason why we can actually do this shit, And just looking at the guy, he is so humble. I've never met anyone like that. He's like, I know you think of me as an idol, but I don't see it. I'm like, dude, like, if you leave the United States and ask what comedian somebody likes, they're going to say Russell Peters, because the guy makes fun of every race, every religion equally, which is the nice part. Actually, no, he fucks with Indians most, because like fuck Indian people, like seriously. I'll make a joke about that later to make it all sense. But like it really got to me. Like we were talking, and he's from the same part of India my family's from. He started doing stand-up. Well, I started doing stand-up when I was 16. He started doing it when I was 19, so like kind of close. And it was just to see him where he's at and to see me where I'm doing. It was just so cool. Like he pushed me to continue, and like nobody in my whole life ever did that to me when I was a kid. Because I tell Indian people I want to be a comedian. They were like, "Fuck you! You should be a doctor." And that's straight up. And when I told white people, well, you guys laugh at all my jokes. It's kind of cool. When I do it in front of Indian people, I have to do it harder because, like, yeah, we're not going to give it to you that easily. we're on your mother's side on this one, But when I texted my mom, I texted a picture of me with this Indian guy, and she's like, "Hey, who's that?" I'm like, "Ma, it's Russell Peters." She's like, "Oh my God!" She was like, "You're a celebrity now? It's all good." She went down and bragged all her friends, and all her friends started texting me, "Oh, Vinayak, you met Russell Peters? You opened for him? Why can't my son be like you?" No, literally, like I now, like I tell when I perform in Indian shows, it's. I always talk about, I toured India, I've opened for Russell, I toured the US, and all this stuff, and I'm not going to say my age, but I'm under 25, let's just say it like that. And like they're, like, all their kids are still doing their masters, and like, why can't my son be like you? And I'm literally like, well, you were the ones who told them not to be comedians. like that's the truth, and I didn't do that. All right, thank you guys for listening. I'll end with an actual joke. So I was raised in the South Bay area by a single Indian mom. And what that means is I'll go to her with all my problems and she'd just make things worse. I'd be like, "Ma, all my friends are calling me fat." "You're not fat. You just have a big appetite." Or I'd be like, "Ma, all my friends are calling me dumb." "No, you're not dumb. You just want to be a comedian." Or I'd be like, "Ma, all my friends are calling me ugly." "No, You're not ugly. You just look like your father.